Okay, so I know that there's a good chance if I trip or whatever, those boards are going to be all over the place, right? And I want to make sure they get back in the same order that I figured them out at. So very lightly, which I can erase later, and this is going to be the inside anyhow. I marked with a 1, 2, 3, 4, blah, blah, blah. So we're good to go on that. All right, we're going to do another glue up using a MikroBench, which if you don't already know this, if you go to instructables.com and type in under the search, type in MikroBench, spelled MikroBench, and that'll get you to a tutorial on how to build these. And then I'm going to get some setup done here now. Okay, you're either going to have the top facing the front of the MikroRail facing up, or you're going to have the back of it facing up. Now, I want the front facing up because that's where I want to pay all my attention to alignment and everything else. I don't care about the back. So this actually would be the back, right? And I don't want to switch things around too much. So now this is number 6. So I'm going to put that there. I think this is right. I'll find out in a minute. And then number 5, etc. We're going to put them in there very, very loose at first. Again, you can see where this blue is going to come in handy because the blue mark. Now I'm keeping those all aligned. So this is what I'm getting at. This is the stuff I want to basically face front, especially when you're doing an epoxy. You want that 3-dimensional thing going on. Okay, basically I did another dry fit. I wanted to make it work. But the other thing I did is I actually did some switching around intentionally. So I wanted some 3D right here. So I flipped it because when we ran that through the shaper, it took more off of one surface than it did off the other because it wasn't a consistent board. That board is thicker than this board and so on. So that's why I'm doing that. And I might even fool with it a little bit more yet. So by flipping it, I had more depth to it and I'm good with that. So now it's ready for glue up. Okay, so here's the deal. Now, because I'm going to put 2-part epoxy on it, epoxy is glue, right? So I could actually just put it in, leave it in the clamps, tighten it up, and pour the epoxy because it would work its way into and start adhesing things. But then I'd have to flip it over and put some on the back. So, but the other thing is that as much as I love this stuff, no matter what brand or whatever, this does not bring out the color, the tone in the wood like varnish is going to do, like oil-based varnish, not even latex varnish, but oil-based varnish is going to bring out those colors so much more. So what I am going to do is I'm going to do a glue up, but I'm going to do it with regular, just regular glue, just regular. What do you call it? You know, wood glue, right? I think no particular brand, but anyhow, I'm going to do it with that. That way it dries faster. Everything will be adhesed really, really well. And then I'll be able to varnish it yet today, maybe about 2 hours from now, something like that. It's a good time to get rid of old stuff, but that's like too old, right? Now, especially with the rough texture, I don't want to have any glue showing on this side at all. None, 0. Because I'm not going to be able to clean it up in this kind of stuff, especially this glue because it doesn't take stain, right? So what I'm going to do is I'm going to definitely do a good bottom. I want a nice thick bottom, and these clamps are going to hold it nice and tight anyhow. And then I am going to go in the trench, but very, very lightly. I want some on the edge. Very light. So now that I have the glue in the slots, I'm going to just start gradually tightening on one end, and that'll prevent it from falling apart on me all the time. I'm just going to work my way from that towards this. Now, I do want to put no, I'm going to be sanding this down. So normally I'd put a strip of wood in between here, but I'm just going to go ahead without on that. Otherwise, sometimes the clamps leave a red mark or an indentation, but I'm okay. This is ash, so it's not going to dent it too much. Okay, one of the boards wasn't quite in, and it was being a little bit of a stinker. So if you can see that I tapped it and it went down, and now it's doing exactly what it's supposed to do when I turn the clamps. Again, now I'm just going to keep on gradually working my way from left to right, center, and all that kind of stuff, and looking. And this is why, again, I want to make sure that I have the face, it's going to be the face up, so I can see what's going on. One of the cool things about this method is actually it usually comes out square, right? So, but I'm just double checking it just to make sure, and I'm getting a perfect square, all four. And I do have a tiny gap right there, and I'm okay with that. Again, the two-part epoxy is going to go down in there. Otherwise, I can tap this board. That took care of it without changing squareness. So now it's a matter of one at a time again, but using the wrench so I can tell where just the right tightness, tension is. So one of the things I didn't do but should have, I should have gone back to look at the prototype, the first prototype, which is the baseline. And in that one, I did put a board right in here on both ends. I put a strip of wood in the center. I put a strip on the wood center back here. And what that did is it allowed the clamps to put all the pressure evenly right on the flange. Now, again, because I didn't pay attention to that, now I have to put another set of clamps on the top because I was noticing these are putting way too much pressure. If I took a measurement, let me just see if I am correct on that. Okay, so again, I eyeballed, but now I'm getting 8 3/8 at the bottom. I'm getting 8 1/2 at the top, and that's not what you want. Again, it's just the way that the clamps do it. They're going to put too much pressure below. So now I have to put some pressure above to equalize it. So again, I would solve that if I just put the strip of board here, a strip there, probably only about a 1-inch strip. And again, it puts all the pressure right on where the tongue meets the groove. I will warn you, when you use the impact driver, don't ever get your gloves caught in there. Ow, does that hurt? The rubber, like from even the nylon gluing gloves, get caught in there, and it really is a bear. Otherwise, this is the way to go. Okay, let's take a couple measurements. Okay, so I'm getting 8 1/4, 8 1/4, 8 1/4, 8 1/4. So good to go. You know, again, a prototype, I'm good with that. That's not going to make any difference anywhere. So right now it's just a matter of letting it dry, and then we'll take it apart and maybe in a few hours. Something normally be nice to let it go overnight, right? But I want to keep this project going so I can put a coat of varnish on it before I go in for the night. So it's been, I guess, 3 hours or something, which is fine for regular conventional glue. Not that it's cured, but it's going to hold together. It's not going anywhere. Plus, again, that'll be part of the permanent joinery, but by the time this epoxy is poured in here, that thing is not going anywhere anytime soon, that's for sure. So I'm basically going to disassemble it right now, take it off. And sometimes, again, if I tighten them up too much, not too much, but when they're tight, sometimes I have to kind of break that with this wrench rather than going right to the impact. But so that's pretty much what's going on. There, now it's coming right off. Again, if you're using gloves, don't get your fingers in there by those threads because it'll turn and suck the leather right in, you know. Now, if I had used Gorilla Glue, then there would be glue oozing up in here somewhere. Even conventional glue would, but if you recall, I was very careful not to get any on that would ooze up into this because I didn't want to have to clean it up, because I don't want to clean anything on this. I want to leave it just like it is, other than I'm going to varnish it. So otherwise, this is the time where I would leave it in the bottom clamps and then, you know, scrape the glue, stuff like that. But the nice thing is you don't have to do that on this one. So there we go. That is the way it's going to turn out. And you know what I did? I can't believe that. I put one of them backwards. I wasn't paying close enough attention. And that one should have been on the other side so that the cavities, because right now it's just kind of bare, you know? Oh well, it'll work. So now what's next?